She actually has a beautiful yacht. It's not there right now. I don't understand why it's not there because I know where she's at. She's at my house. I'm such a dreamer. No, but she does have a yacht. She's probably out there somewhere because she actually stays here. It's a vacation home. She stays here about 6 months out of the year. She hangs out in Miami until after spring break. She loves hanging out. Spring break is a lot of fun here in Miami. She'll leave from here. She captains her own boat. She goes across the Gulf of Mexico, right through the Panama Canal, and goes up to LA and spends the rest of the year at her other vacation home in LA. Now right here, next door, we have Palm Island. Way back in the 1920s, it became very famous because Al Capone, the mobster, the gangster, had a mansion on the island. Back in those days, there was no bridge access, so he felt very safe. He had a lot of people after him, so he felt safe with his family. He had his personal security guards walking around the island actually with guns, making sure that no suspicious boats were pulling up to the island. Now, the way they made these islands, I don't know if you know, they were man-made. In the early 1900s, big boats could not get into Miami. Big ships could not get into Miami because it was all shallow water. So they excavated the channel for the ships to come in and out. They got the sand and rock. They made the port of Miami with the leftover sand and rock. They made these islands. Now check out this corner property here on Star Island. I'll tell you who owns this in just a minute. The guy that owns it paid $20 million just for the land. He spent $40 million on the construction of the mansion, which is the biggest mansion amongst the islands. And he has well over $1 million in exotic plants and plants from around the world on his own property. Very fanatical about his gardens. Now, this guy just so happens to be one of the biggest drug dealers in the United States, pharmaceutical drugs. He's a pharmacist. His name is Dr. Philip Frost. And together with Pfizer Pharmaceuticals, they invented a little blue pill that sends smiles across the world. Does anyone know what it is? Viagra. He said it with a big smile. He's not shy. You see that? There's a little pool right here. Actually, a big pool. It was a waterfall. At Thriller, we decided to give it a nickname. We call it Viagra Falls. And the crowd goes crazy. Everybody always looks at the mansion and says, whoa, he has a big one. It is. The mansion is 22,000 square feet. The crazy part is there's only 3 bedrooms in the mansion. It was custom built for half of the mansion to be a replica of the Sistine Chapel. Pretty cool stuff. Now this mansion here, like many of the other mansions around these islands, have been used in movies, music videos, commercials. We see a lot of fashion photography here also because they love the colors of the water, emerald colored waters, most of the time clear blue skies. Scenes from movies like Bad Boys 2, Transported from many other movies have been filmed at this particular mansion. Now this mansion right here, you guys heard that song, The Addams Family. All of the episodes of The Addams Family were not filmed here. It's very unique though in its own way. This mansion was the first mansion built on the island back in the early 1900s as an experiment to see if the land was firm enough. They had to let the land settle for 5 years. Obviously they were successful. It's been there for over 110 years. The mansion was donated to a guy named Henry Flagler as he was building the railroad tracks on the east coast of Florida in Key West. He stayed here with his family in southeast Florida. That song is from Miami Vice. You might remember Miami Vice back in the 1980s. Don Johnson from the show always wanted to live on Star Island. He couldn't afford it when he was younger, but after 3 years of filming Miami Vice, he had plenty of money. He came out to the island and he found out that the late great Elizabeth Taylor was selling a mansion and he purchased it from her in the 1980s.